In this video, we will go over the three primary types of muscle contraction: isotonic, concentric, isotonic, eccentric, and isometric. The first thing we need to remember is that in general, skeletal muscle contractions will pull on tendons to move our bones. Skeletal muscle actions can range from simple motions like extending our arm or breathing to the highly coordinated movements of swimming or playing an instrument. In many muscle contractions that we observe, we will see that the muscle significantly shortens. As we watched in Chapter 10 over the sliding filament theory, we know that all of the sarcomeres in a skeletal muscle will pull together tightly. The thick and thin filaments will overlap and we will have shortening of the muscle or contraction. Now in this short clip, we will be able to see the shortening of a bicep in an isotonic movement. Notice that the belly of the muscle becomes thicker as the flexion occurs. The muscle is clearly shortening as all of the sarcomeres on the myofibrils overlap. Isotonic contractions in general are defined as a movement or contraction when the tension increases and the skeletal muscle's length changes. So lifting weights in the gym would be a great example of an isotonic contraction. There are two types of isotonic contractions: concentric and eccentric. So let's start with an isotonic concentric contraction. These are defined as a movement where the muscle tension exceeds the load and the muscle shortens. In this clip, we will see an obvious shortening of the bicep in this isotonic concentric motion. Notice the muscle shortening with each lift of that load. Next, we will look at isotonic eccentric contractions. In an isotonic eccentric contraction, the peak tension developed is going to be less than the load and the muscle will elongate due to the contraction of another muscle or the pull of gravity. So if we look at this clip, we will see that as we gently lower the weight down, the muscle is still tense. It is elongating in the motion. In these movements, you are exerting very precise control over the amount of tension you produce. In this clip, we can see the muscles elongating as the tension remains there and the control remains there, but the muscle elongates. Finally, we have isometric contractions. In isometric contractions, the muscle as a whole does not change length, and the tension produced never exceeds the load. Notice that when you perform an isometric contraction, the contracting muscle bulges, but not as much as it does during an isotonic contraction. The muscle as a whole does not shorten, but the individual muscle fibers shorten as connective tissues stretch. The muscle fibers cannot shorten further because tension does not exceed the load.